Hello all, Josh with Piedmont Survival. Today we're going to be discussing combat chocolate rations, and later on in the video we'll be making our own modernized version of the D Ration. So during the First World War, chocolate bars were mainly commercialized, sent to the troops on the Western Front. We'll kind of more discuss the Western Front than the Eastern Front. I'll probably hear a bunch of people talking about the war in different parts of the world, but I'm mainly focusing on the Western Front. So, like I said, most of the chocolate sent over there, a lot of it was commercialized. I haven't seen anything yet on any military rations of chocolate. If anyone has any information on that, please send it to me. I'd love to learn about it. The British, they received tins of chocolate from Cadbury as gifts, things that were sent to the troops that were donated, where funds were raised for these things to be sent. Like you have the 1914 Princess Mary tin for Christmas that was sent to the troops, had chocolate, bold sweets, cigarettes, pipe tobacco, things of that nature. So chocolate is a morale booster, and it's also a source of lightweight energy. And so chocolate was a very big commodity in the trenches of the First World War. So when you have the U.S. entering the First World War in 1917, they had a commercialized chocolate ration as well, and that was the peanut chew. They're still made to this day. They're made in the original dark chocolate version and in the milk chocolate version, and they're produced by Goldberg's, and you can still find them today. A lot of places where they sell kind of antiquated candies and things like that. So then you fast forward to 1937, just before the outbreak of the Second World War. The U.S. government was looking for a compact, lightweight chocolate ration that could be issued out to soldiers as an emergency. And then this is where you have the D Ration. It had to be a specific weight, specific size, and they wanted it to taste no better than a boiled potato. So it wasn't actually there for enjoyment. It was just a emergency ration. Stuff's hit the fan. This is all I got. So they were issued out to troops. They were also put into life rafts and things like that for airmen and air crews and stuff. They weren't widely liked. Most soldiers did not eat them. Some stories that I've read, the soldiers would actually had ate them and they became sick from eating them because it says on the package to consume over a 30-minute period. So anyway, the chocolate bars could be eaten whole, or they could be crumbled up into water and made into kind of like a hot chocolate. So they weren't very popular. Most of them didn't get eaten. They made millions of these things. They were produced by the Hershey company. The chocolate paste, when they were making it, was actually so thick that each individual D ration had to be hand molded because they couldn't produce a machine that could put that thick of a paste into the molds. So then later on into the war, you have the U.S. Introducing the Hershey Tropical Bar. A lot of these were issued out at the Pacific Theater. They were smaller than the D Ration, better tasting, and these actually stayed in circulation all the way up and through Vietnam. They were used in Korea, Vietnam, and I believe they were also sent on the Apollo 15 space flight. So the other nations also had their own version of a chocolate ration, the British, French, so on. Well, somewhat of the French. So the Germans also had their very own as well, and it is Chalcocolo. So Chalcocolo is still made today. It is this is the milk chocolate version. It comes in the blue can. Then they also have the original version in the dark chocolate version in the red can. So this was produced for the 1936 Olympics, and it is an athlete's chocolate. That's what it was marketed as, and they still make things like that today, mainly in gummy form today, but back then it was chocolate. So these became pretty popular. They were commercial, and then with the outbreak of the Second World War, the Wehrmacht, the Luftwaffe, and so forth decided to use these as a ration themselves because it's caffeinated chocolate. It has cola nut, and coffee in with the chocolate. It's a good morale booster for the chocolate part, and then also for the caffeine part, it gives you higher energy. So this was nicknamed Luftwaffe chocolate. It was issued out to the Luftwaffe crews for the long flights, and then it was also issued out to members of U-boat squadrons, so that it, because you're inside of a tin can for months on end with a high chance of death, you got very little sleep, and things were uncomfortable, so some chocolate that could keep you going, yeah. It was also issued out to the Wehrmacht and other different parts of the German military forces. There was one story where a U.S. company was captured by the Germans, and the Germans were so impressed by the way that they fought that they actually let the American soldiers pass through their mess line. And in the mess line, they were issuing out Chalcocolo. So they gave the soldiers the Chalcocolo, the U.S. soldiers the Chalcocolo. So, but by the time the rest of the German soldiers got up to receive their mess, they're out of Chalcocolo. So the German soldiers were upset that their enemy got the chocolate and they did not. This stuff, I have not been able to find it in America. If anyone out there knows where in America you can buy this, or in the U.S. you can buy this, I'd be greatly appreciative. I have to order mine off eBay through a guy that lives in Germany. It takes about a month for me to receive it, and I can only order this stuff in the wintertime. So, funny story, about a year and a half ago, I ordered some of this, and it was in the summer, and I wasn't thinking. So a month goes by, I finally get my chocolate in the mail, I'm really excited. I'm like, all right, pop it open, and it's liquid. Like straight liquid. It hadn't hardened up at all. Like it was so hot outside, and inside the mailbox, it just melted, turned into goo. So put it in the freezer, let it harden up, and it tasted okay, but it's not as pleasurable as the individual pieces that, you know, they're inside the cans of Chalcocolo. And even the cans of this, a World War II version can of this, is highly sought after. I was really surprised how much these things were going for, like $250, $300 for a original can of Chalcocolo. And I haven't seen one that had actually any chocolate in it so far. That's just an empty can. So there's people out there that'll pay those prices for that. I think it's a really cool novelty item. I just personally would have something better I could spend $250, $300 on. So let's fast forward a little bit with the chocolate. Like I said, the Tropical Bar was used all the way up through Vietnam, and then it was discontinued. So during the outbreak of Desert Storm in 1989, 1990, that time frame, Hershey developed the Desert Bar. It was to be sent to the soldiers going over to fight in Desert Storm. They made up millions of these bars. The only problem is that the war ended before they could really get these things shipped over there in quantity. So most of them were sold as a novelty item. I've seen some on eBay go for like $30. I might buy one day. I still have an issue with spending $30 on a chocolate bar that I'm not going to eat. But so in this coming up, we are going to make our own version of the D Ration. So my D Ration is going to be better tasting than the original. I don't want to eat a boiled potato while I'm out in the field. So mine is going to include milk chocolate morsels, dairy, dry milk, vanilla, and oat flour. Now, you can go buy oat flour if you'd like to. I'm going to use my own oat flour. I'm just going to take some Quaker oats and put it into a coffee grinder, grind it up, and I'll have oat flour. I've tried this recipe before. It actually turned out very well, but this time I'm going to use my own new mold. I actually found a chocolate bar mold that's thicker. It's kind of got the same thickness as an original D Ration, but it's not the same shape. This one's more of a rectangular and skinnier than the original D Ration. They do sell D Ration molds. They're $20 to $30 online. If I can find it again, I'll put it on the link. I'll put the link, sorry, into the description. So here we go. Let's start making a D Ration. These are the items that I use in my D Ration. I have milk chocolate morsels, Gulf wax, instant dry milk, and oat flour. These are the ingredients that I will be using, and then for how I do it, I also use a double boiler where I just boil up water, put a pan on top, and melt down things that way. And then I also have my molds. Now I have my items measured off. Still using the whole bag of morsels. I'm using half a block of the Gulf wax. I'm using half a cup of oat flour and half a cup of dry milk. First, I start off by melting the Gulf wax. Now that you have your Gulf wax melted, it's time to add the chocolate. And you want to make sure that you keep stirring this stuff so it doesn't stick and you get all of it melted evenly. It's a lot of chocolate. I might be making more D rations than I thought. Just be careful when you're handling this. It's easy to get burned on the bottom boiler. And this is kind of hard this is kind of hard to mess up as a recipe. I mean, at the end of the day, you still get chocolate. So, so even if it doesn't come out pretty, it's still chocolate and it's still delicious. So you just want to keep working the chocolate till you get it down to a liquid, or as close to a liquid as possible. You want to make sure you get that stuff off the side. Ooh, she's getting warm. There she goes, she's melting. Keep stirring. Getting a good liquid form. And it doesn't matter what brand of chocolate you use. You can go with whatever local brand you have in your grocery stores. It's their generic brand, or you can go with Nestle, or even I haven't ever tried using any of those melting chocolates. I haven't tried those yet. I may try that one day, but this is kind of my go-to here. Let's keep stirring that up. And I forgot one item that I am going to add. I know I said that earlier, but I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla extract as well. And I'm not using an exact recipe. I'm using the ingredients from that recipe, but the measurements and stuff, I'm honestly just kind of playing this by sight and seeing what I think is going to be good. I have a bowl over there. Getting too cool. It's starting to melt down some now pretty well. So now I'm going to slowly add in my dry ingredients. First up is the oat flour. And on previous ones that I've made, I noticed that the bars were kind of grainy. And that was true with the original ones as well. They had kind of a grainy texture to them. So I'm going to try to make them less grainy this go around by letting it melt longer and make sure that it's that all the dry ingredients are completely dissolved into the mix. Okay, I think I can go ahead and add a little bit more. And just kind of have fun with the recipe. I mean, if you got anything you want to add to it, make it for yourself, then put in there what you want. Rice Krispies, marshmallows, caramel chips, stuff like that. And then, you know, if I'm not a reenactor, but if you are a reenactor, you can you know, make up your own D rations for your kit, take out to the field with you, and that way when you go out you have you know, very tasty rations that are specific to you. Still some more right there. So you have to make sure you get it all. You get the little white clumps in there. Just keep stirring. Let's add a little bit more. Get it back to the burner. And the last bit. So with mine, I'm using half a cup of oat flour, half a cup of dry milk. I'm not sure if I already said that. Now that I've got the flour mixed in, now I'm going to add in some of the dry milk, same powdered milk, same as I did with the flour. And on the original ones, they said that the mix was so thick that they didn't have a machine to actually pour it into the molds, so each one had to be hand molded. So I'm wondering if it's going to be like this. I don't think I can call up anyone from 1940 something and have them tell me exactly how they did it. It's looking really good. See the color? And hopefully the amount of oat flour in there will give it a higher melting point than just your standard chocolate. Add in some more. Make sure I don't get burned on the bowl. So I thought I didn't know how the mixture would be, so I thought I was going to be able to like pour it in because I thought it'd be more liquidy. But I think I'm going to have to spoon it into the molds. And I can just keep it on the boiler to keep everything nice and warm. All right, a little bit more. And that's all of that. All right, now that I have it mixed up, now I'm going to attempt to put it in the molds. So let's see how this goes. And it may not be pretty. And if anyone's got a different technique that they know of, that would be, we'll turn it down some before we have a pop. Okay, so I think that's about all I'm gonna be able to get into that one. Make sure, I'd like to have some good hard edges there. Then let's see if I can work out some of the, there we go. All right, move on to number 2. Get it all in there. I might have overfilled that first one. Alright, so here is the finished product. Got them into the molds as best I could. I had to spoon them in there, ended up being able to make 7 of them. And these are going to be pretty good sized bars. They're not pretty. By no means. I am not an expert at melting chocolates and making everything look pretty, but I think these are going to do the job. So now it's time to go chill them. And we're going to leave them in there for about an hour to 2 hours. All right, they have cooled off, and let's see what we got. Wow, these things are huge. Bottom side is not that pretty looking. There, but right there, wow, I'm liking this new mold. This is probably the best looking D rations that I have made so far. I just love how how smooth that is there. Oh, sorry. How smooth that is. It looks amazing. And last one. How amazing those look. And there you have it. You can even grab some of those food sealing agents, or food saver things, I apologize. And you can just seal up your D rations. And I have less than probably less than $10 invested in all the materials to make this. And we're going to use these on some upcoming camping trips, and I think it's going to be great. I hope everyone enjoyed that video. This is my very first video, so take it easy on me out there. Still learning how to edit videos and things. And here soon we'll be posting hopefully another video, this time outdoors camping and stuff. As I have time, I'll be going out and doing more camping stuff. And thank you for watching.